How's it going, everybody? It's Tyler coming at you with another video here, and today we're going to be going over my match versus Muhlenberg here. Today I played 4 singles, and we're going to be going over a little bit more of the strategy side, and this is overall for when you generally play a person who is lower than you or lower rated than you. So even though UTR doesn't determine everything, it gives you a general idea of the sense of the level that you're at. So overall, if you're looking at somebody that you're going to be playing for the future and you see somebody that has a lower UTR than you, this is my insight on how at least I take it and how I approach it. So let's get right into the analysis here. So starting off here, I actually ended up cutting out a decent amount of the dead space in this match, and I also cut out a portion of it because the quality sometimes wasn't the greatest due to having this match on live recording. So starting off here, especially early in any match, I really just try to get a good feel for how you're playing for the day, because especially in tennis, as you guys know, you have a lot of up days and a lot of down days, and you really just want to try to get a good feel for the ball. Even if you have a good warm-up, as soon as you step onto the court and actually start your match, it's a whole different story. So when I start a lot of my matches here, I start trying to keep every ball deep and up the middle, and then kind of work your way out and work your angles and work your other shots. So in the beginning of the match, especially against a lower rated player, I really don't try to go for too much. Because a lot of the times, especially with a lower rated player, they will feel the pressure of how you're hitting, and how if you stay consistent, they will feel that pressure and eventually start missing a little bit more. So that's really what I did here. So kind of just waited for my opportunity, and obviously today, as you guys could see, it's very, very windy. I actually had to mute the audio because it was so loud and so unbearable that I couldn't even listen to it. So especially in that, like, a lot of points, very, very similar to the one you just saw. A lot of times, if you even not doing too much, you'll be able to get an unforced error. So, and this level difference is obviously a decent bit, with me being about a 9 UTR, my opponent being about a 6 here. But it really shows just I'm not doing too much to be able to control these points. Yes, I'll hit a couple forehands or a couple winners here and there, but overall, I'm kind of just kicking most of these serves in and just waiting for my opponent to miss. So I play it super safe here, and see how it goes. So a lot of the times opponents feeling that pressure, it really shows in matches here and shows in match experience, honestly. So having a good start up 5-0 here, feeling like I haven't honestly done too much and had to stress too much, as I'm able to just stay consistent and make a lot of serves and make a lot of forehands, and then deviate from there. So taking this first set 6-0 here, and still sticking to the same strategy. And something I see a lot of lower rated players do is, if they're up in a match, or if they're very, very close in a match versus a good rated player, they will switch up their strategy a ton. And even though they're up, they'll change the strategy, or if something's working super well, they just out of nowhere will start changing it. A lot of times I'll see if somebody is like really controlling the points from the baseline, out of nowhere somebody will start serving and volleying, which makes no sense. Or if somebody kicks it 4 times in a row to your backhand, out of nowhere they'll go slice out wide. And that's something I try to stay true to in a lot of my matches, is if something's working, why would you ever change it? So I thought a lot of time in this match here, it was, or in a lot of matches, I really just try to stick to, if a strategy is working, try to go with it. And now I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident in my forehand, and still sticking obviously with the same strategy here as I'm doing well in this match. And also something I like to do a lot versus a lower rated player is, obviously, if I'm doing well, try to work on things. So if you're in a match experience like this where you're up big, or you're having not a ton of difficulty winning, as with your regular strategy, or trying to keep it deep down the middle and not go for too many winners, this is a time to really work on different parts of your game that you don't feel as comfortable with. So if you're typically a counter puncher or an aggressive baseliner, maybe you start serving and volleying a little to get a little bit more comfortable in a match where maybe you're losing and your regular strategy isn't consistently working. This is a time where you can really start to work on things, as this is still a match experience. And obviously nowadays with UTR, everybody's so worried about how many games you'll lose, or what will going on as an underarm serve comes in here. But as like the match progresses, something really to think about is, like, what are your weaknesses when you play better players, and what can you do to get better? As I said, with like serving and volleying, some people aren't normally as comfortable with it. So now me, like for instance in this match here, I actually like to serve and volley, and I feel very confident at the net. But my approaching skills have been sometimes not the greatest. So that's something I tried to work on. Maybe like staying back a few shots here, and then waiting for the ball to approach and come in. And that's something that I thought I did pretty well in this match, staying back, waiting, trying to find the right ball to come in and approach on. So that's something that was the thing I was trying to work on in this match here, and trying to overall be a little bit more aggressive, waiting at the baseline, and then waiting for the right opportunity to come to that net as I shank a volley into the other court. Now up 6-0, 5-2, trying to serve out the set here. And something I see so often is when people are, especially lower rated players, are trying to serve out a set or trying to close out a match, they'll change their strategy out of nowhere, and just overall just trying to stick to the same strategy is really something that's super important here. Having a little dispute at the end here about the score, but overall closing it out 0-2. So after rewatching this match and watching it again for myself, some things I always to think to myself when playing somebody that's overall lower rated than you is starting off with high margins and playing really high percentage tennis. That's something I see so many people will automatically think, hey, I'm better than this guy if I just hit harder and beat this guy, and just hit harder honestly, and try to hit a lot of winners. That's a strategy that hey I could beat this guy just because on paper I'm better than him. That sometimes doesn't always work, because then you start to get a little bit tight, you miss a little bit more, maybe the score line's getting a little bit closer. So really something to stay focused the entire match and playing with those high margins, and really you don't want to deviate from your original plan. So especially if you feel like you're losing control a little bit of the match. So if something's working, there's no reason to change it. And I see it all the time where I think I said it previously in the video, if your kick out wide is working super well, and you're serving really well the backhand, and they've missed every single backhand return, and I see all the time people will say, oh, I want to mix it up and get them off target and throw in a slice serve to their forehand. There's absolutely no point where you should ever do that if it's working every single time. So if it's working, there is no reason to say it, and staying on that path is super important. And working, and that's why it works into number 2, working with your strengths and weaknesses. So and overall reading your opponent's strengths and weaknesses as well. If you recognize after the first 4 games that your forehand you're feeling good on that day, your forehand super strong, and then you realize, hey, this guy's backhand isn't great, use it. You can go, you can work that forehand, your forehand to their backhand rally. Work into that and stay confident with your game, and try to see try to read what your opponent's game is. So many times, especially lower UTR players, will think so much about only themselves. Oh, I missed 4 shots in a row, and you're thinking solely about yourself. That's something where it's able to get you to the next level, where you're thinking and you're trying to get into your opponent's head. We're trying to get into your opponent's head. Oh, or they're not doing so well when I hit this shot on them, and they have similar thoughts to you as well. If you get in your own head about missing 4 shots in a row, how will they get in their head if they miss 4 backhands in a row? And the last thing I would say, this is less about winning against lower UTR players, but especially if you're up big in a match and you're feeling confident, work on things. If you're up big, work on things. Especially, I said it previously. If you're normally an aggressive baseliner, or you're a counter puncher, work on serving and volleying. Or if you have a very big return, maybe kick a couple in and work on your ground strokes. Because when you're in a super tight match later down the road, then you have that match experience to fall back on when you did work on those things. Because when you step onto the court for a match, it is so much different. It is so much different than playing a practice set versus one of your buddies. So overall, I would say playing against UTR players, some people really despise it, but I like it because it gets you super focused to actually stay focused on something the entire match. So obviously, food for thought here, something to work on. And if you're telling yourself that if you want to sign up for one of these tournaments, that you see later down the road, and you say, hey, it might be the highest UTR, I don't want to sign up for it, why not? Test your ability and see what you can do versus a lower UTR player. So I want to see you guys, encourage you guys to take these lower UTR matches seriously, and it doesn't always have to be against the higher UTR player. So get out there, have fun. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.